What's up, crew?
Well, in my opinion, boy, what the hell, boy, you need to ask yourself, why aren't you, kind of controversial, but I don't think we should. I just broke down crying. You're listening to Free to Grow with Jerome and Baga.
What's up, crew? You're listening to episode 17, Social Propaganda That You've Fallen For. Okay, I'm actually really excited to make this episode because this is not, just a little disclaimer because the title might seem a little obscure. This is a very lighthearted episode. I'm just going to be talking about little things that I've noticed, and sometimes I question them, and I'm like, why do we do this? What is the purpose? Because personally, a lot of them I disagree with, and you have to wait to find out to see if you agree with them or not. Before we jump into that, quick reminder that the podcast is switching from Thursdays onto Tuesdays, so I'll be posting every Tuesday from here on out, and really happy that everyone enjoyed the last episode where I had my girlfriend on the show, and that was great. Got a lot of good feedback from that and views. So yeah, thank you so much. Anyways, let's get into it. The very, very, very first one I want you to think about is the way you laugh. Okay, stick with me. So I was thinking about it the other day. We all have different kinds of laughter, right? But all in all, it's the same, like, I don't know, ha ha ha, whatever you want to call it. It's like a deep, like, breaths kind of coming out of your mouth, whatever you want to call it. You know what a laugh is. And so I was relating that, and I was thinking, okay, why do we laugh? It might sound confusing. So let's take a quick detour. In nature, throughout like millions of different organisms, you see each organism have their own kind of unique trait that they exhibit. And a lot of the times what that trait is it can be when the organism, well, it's kind of hard to quantify like happiness, but there are a lot of behavioral behavioral mechanisms. For example, when you look at birds, there are specific type of birds where they might like throw up their feathers in a certain way when they're trying to attract a mate, or they're trying to hide from their predator, so on and so on and so on, right? If a certain organism is excited, it might, like, I don't know, tick in a certain way, right? And so I was thinking, do humans have anything that's like that? Because I feel like we look at other animals or anything and we describe their behavior as this like unique thing that's certain to them, but like everything we do is the default, and then everything they do is like a separate spin-off version of what we do. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, the way we laugh is so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. And don't get me wrong, I love laughing. But if you think about it, it's actually a really weird thing to do. Like, really weird. And don't get me wrong, I love laughing. If I were just like why? I don't know if this sounds crazy or not. I hope that you're agreeing with me here. But if you think about it, right? Let's say me and you are just having a conversation, and in the middle of the words, in the language that we are speaking, I just go, ha, ha, ha. Like, that's a weird thing to do. That's just so weird. And, like, obviously, I'm going to keep laughing. Obviously, I love laughing, and it's just like a natural reaction. Like when you find something really funny or whatever, you just start laughing. But I was like, why? And so maybe think about that the next time you laugh, and maybe that will, I don't know, throw off your perception of things. Don't stop laughing though. Please don't, because it's amazing, but it's really weird when you think about it. Next, number 2, our drawing of an alien, right? So I think this one is a lot less like set in stone, because we can draw aliens like many different ways, of course. Like let's say when you're like a little kid and you get a sheet of paper and some crayons, and your teacher's like, oh, everyone draw an alien. There are different ways to draw it, for sure, and we all do. But the default way, for some reason, has always been, that like that green face that's like a little balloon shaped kind of, with like the big black eyes over here. And so I was just wondering one day, like, who came up with that? Who decided that was the way we were going to draw aliens, like the default version? Like if you search up alien on Google or something. That's probably what you're going to find is a picture. And so I was like, okay. Because we really do have zero clue what aliens look like. I'm sorry. Let me pause for a second. You're either listening to this right now and you're like, what the hell is this guy going on about? And you're like thinking I'm weird, or you're nerding out with me and you're realizing so much stuff. There's so much stuff in this list that is just so exciting. It gets better and better, so stick around. Anyways, who decided that there are infinite amount of ways we can draw an alien? They don't even have to have, I don't know why we always associate eyes with aliens. You know, I feel like a common one among all the ways you could draw an alien is always eyes. Like usually two big black eyes, or it will be like one eye in the middle, or it will have just like eyes all over its head. And so I wonder why we chose eyes to be like that defining alien feature. Maybe it's because we don't like spiders, and some spiders have a bunch of eyes. Who knows? Who knows? This one might be controversial because this is highly opinionated, but I personally think it's not, but that's also my opinion. But it's definitely opinionated. Horror movies. I don't understand the appeal. I don't understand the appeal at all. I personally think, and I say this in lightheartedness, if you watch horror movies, amazing, I'm happy for you. And I'm not making fun of anyone. But I think that everyone has just lied to themselves that they like watching horror movies. Okay? And I think we've got to a point where we're like scared to say, oh, I don't like watching horror movies. And it's like making you seem like less like tough because you don't want to watch horror movies. As I told you before, that's highly opinionated. That's me. I do not like watching horror movies. I'm going to keep it 100% real right now. If you throw on a horror movie, I shall be tucking my head into a pillow or something, or I'll be leaving the room. I am not like, are you kidding me? Especially in today's economy, right? Where you're going to the movie theater and you're dropping like a gazillion dollars just for a bag of popcorn. Why would I do that? Why would I spend my money, right? I'm going to leave the comfort of my home. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to go to the movie theater, spend money on a ticket, spend probably like triple the money of the ticket on popcorn, sit down in a chair and voluntarily just be petrified for like 2.5 hours. I don't see the appeal. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I can't do it. Only horror movie I've watched, honestly, like watched, like I looked at the screen and I watched, was Get Out. That was a very interesting experience. If you've watched it, it's about this black guy who starts dating this girl, and then he goes up to her cottage, I believe it is, and then it's just a bunch of wicked stuff. I won't spoil it for you, but essentially, I was watching it in a basement with like 10 other white people, and it was just, I was just scared. I was just, go watch the movie before you judge that statement. Okay, number 4, bit of a random one, but the idea of buying diamonds for marriage. I don't really know where that came from. Like, I understand how that could be made, or you know, you want like a precious jewel to give to your loved one or whatever. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing as well. But like, I don't know, like diamond rings are really expensive, dog. I don't know. But also, like, I think the more interesting part to me about diamond rings is how, for something that's pretty rare, like it's definitely not the rarest mineral on earth, a diamond, but actually maybe it is. No, it's no way it is. One day I'm gonna get fact checked on here so bad it's not even funny. Anyways, one thing that's really interesting to me is how such a precious mineral became such a mainstream thing, where it's like, okay, we're gonna, like, now everyone's gonna be walking around with a diamond ring. That's, I don't know, that's pretty cool to me. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy to me also because like of the whole process with how diamonds are processed. There's a really dark, I won't even say history because it's still going on right now. But this episode's keeping lighthearted. If you do want to know more about the whole diamond industry and some of the ups and downs, there's a lot of really good movies to watch. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called Blood Diamonds. I don't know. Just search a Blood Diamonds movie. It's really good. Okay. This one, well, first off, in case you've heard it before, I have to give credit. This one I got informed about through a TikTok. This girl had a TikTok. She posted it. It got like millions of views, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, yes!" in the comment section. Penne pasta. Okay, penne pasta. Okay, you know what? Before we get to that, sorry, I'm so excited talking about this stuff. Before we get to that, let's talk about the fact that we were just like, okay, we're all gonna make a bunch of different shapes for pasta. Why haven't we made more? I feel like there's so much more that we could make. I don't know. I don't even have anything else to say with that thought, but I feel like if I was in charge of a pasta factory or something, whatever you want to call it, I would have a lot of shapes. I would have a lot, like way more than we currently have. But maybe I just don't know them. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, the main thing about penne pasta is how a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people have come to see it as the default pasta flavor. Not flavor, shape. Why I say flavor? The default pasta shape. And I don't know why. You know what I mean? Like if you were to go to a grocery store, you would see that like if you go to the pasta aisle, would have all the spaghetti and the sauces and all the everything, you would see that like the penne section has like 3 like columns for it. And then all the other pastas have like 1 column for it. Or sometimes they like all share. It'll be like 3 full columns of penne, you know, with like, I don't know, 3 rows or something. And then like there'll be a 4th column. The top row is going to be like bow tie. Second row is going to be like macaroni. Bottom row is going to be, I forgot the name of it, but you know the one that like it's like spinny kind of. It's almost like it's like coil shape kind of. I don't know what the name of it is, but anyways, you'll see other flavors there. I think I'm exaggerating with the whole 3 column thing, but there's just usually a lot more, and I don't know why. I think it's because of that cycle where it's like there's more space allocated to the grocery store, and then people just kind of think it's like the mainstream one, and then people buy it more. Therefore, grocery stores put it there more. People buy it more. And I feel like we've gotten to a point where when you think, at least me, when I think of like default pastas, I'm going to think obviously spaghetti and penne. That's default. That's default for me. Everything else is like a variation of that. You know, like a macaroni is a small curved penne. A bow tie is a like flattened and shaped penne. I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought process. And it doesn't stop there. A la vodka sauce. In my opinion, one of the best pasta sauces ever in the game. Okay? Why are restaurants only putting it on penne? And why are when people cook at home, you know, it's penne a la vodka. You never hear bow tie a la vodka, macaroni a la vodka. So, just some food for thought. I swear, guys, I'm not going crazy. I like talking about this stuff as if it's some sort of like deep conspiracy theory. Although it's something that's really not that deep, and which is fun. It's just fun to talk about. Okay, now this one, actually my next 2 are less speculative and very like founded. Okay, these are scientific. That's the word. These are like scientific notions, whatever you want to call them. These are like forms of social propaganda, myths, if you could say, that have been debunked by science, but a lot of people still believe them, and a lot of people don't know that they've been disproven already. So let's talk about it. So first one, a good amount of people know this, but it's got to be the sizing of the world map. You know, like let's say like I had a sheet of paper, like a poster or whatever, like a big poster of the world map is wrong. If you did not know that already, you might be freaking out. Hopefully you did. But it is wrong. The sizing of it is wrong. And the reason why that is because I forget specifically why. I'm not going to lie. If you want like deep specifics, you should definitely go watch a YouTube video. Just search up world map on YouTube or something, or world map incorrect on YouTube or something like that. But essentially, I'm pretty sure it's that all the land masses that are along the equator look smaller, and then land masses that are closer to the poles look bigger. And so as a result of that, you'll get places like the UK, for example, which is like actually a really tiny island, or like Greenland, or even Canada, North America, end up looking really big and bigger. They actually do look way bigger than they are on the actual map. They are still big, but they look way bigger on the actual map. And then you get other nations along the equator, such as the top half kind of South America and top half of Africa, and not really Australia, but like kind of like those islands that are dispersed kind of in that like random spot in the ocean in between like Africa, Asia, Australia. It's backwards. I just did it backwards for you guys. But anyways, is wrong. That's because when they were first drawing up this map, one, we didn't have the exact precise technology to make the map correct, but the actual reason is because since the world is not flat, it is a 3D globe sphere, it's impossible to accurately draw the map 2D because you end up distorting things, either by shape or by its size. You just end up distorting things or its orientation, which is why one thing you probably do know maybe is like, let's say you want to fly from Canada to anywhere in Europe, let's say, right? The UK, or no, maybe not the UK, like somewhere a bit more parallel to us. I don't know, you want to fly to Europe, let's say, right? Sometimes people often think that the straightest way to get there would be a straight line, you know? Pythagorean theorem. Straight line is always the fastest way, yada, 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 yada. Now, technically, but no, because since the Earth is 3D, the way the map looks is distorted. And so the actual fastest way to get there is not going to be the straight line. It's going to be the curved line, which is why, like, if let's say you're on a flight and you know they have those screens in front of you that show like the path of the plane, like 90% of the time, it's not going to be a straight line. If you're going a short distance, you can't see the distortion enough. You have to like zoom out to actually see the distortion. If you're going a short distance, like a short flight, it's like an hour, you probably won't see it. But any flight longer than that, pretty much your line will always be curved, because the curved line is actually the fastest. It's not actually a curved line though. It's a curved line according to our wrong map. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully that was educational to you. Okay, this one is super interesting. I love telling people about it as much as I can because I just learned about it this year. But okay, no wait, before I tell you, we need to do a little scenario work here. Let's say you're a parent, right? And let's say you dropped your kid off, like they're like 5 years old, at like their friend's birthday party, and you pick them up and they're just going crazy. You know, they tell you, oh my gosh, I just ate a bunch of cake and lollipops and sweets, and you're like, sugar high, right? Scenario 2, let's say it's 7 p.m., right? And their bedtime is, let's say, 8 p.m. And they're like, hey, can I get a sugar cookie or a lollipop or something like this? And what's your answer going to be? It's most likely going to be no, because it's an hour before your bedtime. You're going to have a sugar high and you're not going to be able to go to bed. And this is all bad stuff. Okay. Prepare to have your mind blown. Sugar high is completely fake. Completely fake. This is not fake news. This is not me trying to prank you. Sugar high is not real. It's a complete myth and has been debunked very credibly by science over and over and over again. Like the science community came together, scientists from every spectrum, and they studied from a social level and a molecular level that a sugar high is not a real thing. What's actually happening is that parents often associate really high energy environments that their kid would be in, such as, for example, a kid birthday party or a zoo or anything, a wedding or something, and they blame the kid's high energy following that event on the sugar that they ate and not the event itself. It's a very easy oversight. It's not like an evil thing to do, but essentially what that's led to is a very, very strong bias and like persisting myth amongst pretty much everyone, to the point where it's almost becomes like scientific knowledge that if you eat a bunch of sugar, you're going to get really hyper. End of story. No, literally no. I encourage you to go search this up and do your own research about it, but it is completely false. A second explanation for it is that sometimes if the parent is putting in less effort in kind of controlling the kid or something, and the kid just ate sugar, they'll blame it on the sugar, and maybe their own negligence. No hate to the parents or anything. So yeah, it is not true. And then a third argument that sometimes people use to show that a sugar high is a real thing is they'll say, oh, well, my kid just had a bunch of sugar, and then like an hour after they're on the highway crashed and they fell asleep. Not true. What often happens is that they're coming from a very high energy location. For example, I'm just going to keep using the example of a birthday party. They come from the birthday party, they're super hyper, they're still off of, because they were just interacting with so many people, big colors, playing games, all that kind of stuff. And then they come back, they're still riding on that hyperness for a while because all the cortisol is building up in their body, and then they crash and fall asleep. That is what's really happening inside the child's body. Sugar high doesn't just magically disappear when you reach a certain age. There's a reason why you most likely have not gotten a sugar high since the last time someone told you you had a sugar high when you were 5 years old. So that's probably propaganda that you've been subscribing to. So go watch a video about it. It's really cool. And then last one, I'm not going to get super into it because this is super controversial in my opinion, but I think that hot sauce does not make sense. I genuinely think that there's no reason that my eating experience has to include my taste buds being burned alive. I don't know if that's a hot take amongst you and I, but I like to taste my food with a bunch of seasoning. I want the seasoning on the food. I just don't want my taste buds on fire. Sue me. I don't know what to say. And I think it becomes a problem when we as a collective start looking at eating hot sauce as the norm, and then not eating hot sauce as like saying you can't handle hot sauce. But I would look at it the other way. I would say eating food without hot sauce is the norm, and then having hot sauce is wanting more than the norm. Not like not having hot sauce is less. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoy hearing me ramble on about these things. I like to keep like a good balance between a bit more deep stuff and a bit more just random lightheartedness, because I know everyone listens to the podcast in different ways, whether that's sitting down and watching the video, listening to it as they do something, or falling asleep to it. All three ways are just amazing. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. The support from you guys, it's just been really incredible. And so make sure to subscribe, like, whatever you want to do with it. And also follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to be doing a lot more in the content creation space, because I realized I really enjoy it. So thank you so much for being part of my journey and listening to this episode. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, crew.